Viewers and subscribers, welcome back to Beat in the Press podcast. I am your host, Rafa. Now, today we're going to be reviewing the big match that took place over the weekend, the Champions League final. Man City running away winners and in the process recording the treble. Pep at it again, another treble. But joining me today to review this match, we have returning to the podcast, Leon.
Happy to be back, viewers and subscribers.
Yes, Leon, another big game which pretty much draws a curtain on the season, and we see City running away winners, and in the process, recording matching that Man United treble. What say you? How did you see the game in general?
I think the game lived up to expectation. I think in a final it's always going to be a bit cagey because of the pressure that both teams are under. And I think the starting lineup were fairly, as we expected. We saw some interesting tactical battles or tactical switches that each coaches made, but I think it played out. I think most people would bet that City would win it. I don't think City played that well in the finals, but you can't go against them in saying that City is the best team in Europe currently. And I think of all those bad luck in the past, I think they are deserving champions, and I think it was just about time for them to get across the line, and they finally did it this season.
Yes, I definitely agree with you, dear Leon. The little luck they needed, they got. And, it was just a matter of time before City eventually lifted that Champions League trophy. And, in the process, this season, they have bagged three trophies thus far. We still have, the World Cup coming up and also the UEFA Super Cup as well. So it could potentially be a five trophy haul. And also, you have the Community Shield to kick off next season as well. So Pep just keep rewriting the record book, so to speak, and this game was no different. Again, he threw up a surprise here or there with the non-selection of Walker. I was anticipating that Walker would have gotten the start, but in came Ake, coming off an injury. So, Pep keep throwing up these surprises when it comes to final, but luckily this time it paid off. How did you see the starting 11 though, Leon, from both teams?
I think for Inter, I think the thing that I was indecisive about was really and truly if they were going to start Dzeko over Lukaku. But I think
Mm.
that in most big matches this season, I think was normally preferred. So I think Inter lineup chose itself, and for me, I think it wasn't that much of a surprise not seeing Walker there. I think the only reason why we kind of saw Walker in the FA Cup final was because of the threat that United had in behind, and I think Inter doesn't have that threat as Man United have in behind. I think their main form of attack is down their wings with their wing back.
Right,
And I
right.
think and I think those three centre backs when they tuck in inside the box would be able to deal with those aerial battles better than Walker. I think Walker is mainly used for this season for his pacing behind too. And I think Inter didn't have as much as Man United. So I think the tactical fit was always there.
Yes,
So
definitely. It was more of a physical battle, with the those powerful center forwards that Inter Milan possess, the Dzekos, Lautaro, and then of course Lukaku coming on. So yeah, I mean, hindsight is 2020, they would say, but looking at it now, for sure, the non-selection of Walker had its merit. Ake came in and gave a fairly decent performance. As I said, City wasn't at their best. I thought Inter got the better of the first half exchanges. I think Inter would have been the happier team going into the halftime break. Their tactical setup, I would say, worked almost perfectly in that first half. And surprisingly, Leon, the very thing we spoke of, I believe, a couple podcasts ago, in terms of that threat of City from shooting from range. I don't remember if you remember that conversation we had.
yes, I think I remember that conversation. You were saying that City also. I think I was saying because of the inclusion of Haaland will keep the defenders active. So that threat with KDB and Rodri would be a massive, and
So
as you
said,
saw,
so done, you know. Yeah, because that I've been seeing this all season from City, Leon,
yeah,
where if the defense of the team they're facing plugs up and sits deep, they have the threat from shooting from range that will unlock. It will force the defenders out to close down the shot and as such open up space. And this is exactly what happened in this Champions League final where the Inter defense really put up a solid fortress, a solid wall in front of the City attackers. But again, everyone dropped deep and Rodrigo was left free on top of the 18 and a nice little cutback there and he pretty much curled it around the Inter defense into the back of the net and that was the game right there, Inter had no response and City, even though they wanted to add to that lead, could find no way through the Inter Milan defense. A very solid defensive performance there. It's unfortunate that Lukaku missed that glorious opportunity there. Or I wouldn't say a miss. It was saved by the keeper. You have to give credit where credit is due, but it was a magnificent chance to draw Inter Milan level at that point in the game, I believe around the 88th minute when Inter was really pushing for that equalizer and that could really have set the cats among the pigeon if that one went in. But it was City who came up with the save and eventually hold out and got that victory, You could see the sigh of relief on Pep's face as well as the Man City players, they've been here before and have come away with nothing, but this time around, they really lifted that trophy. And again, KDB went off injury, and
yeah,
played a very limited role in terms of the game.
yeah. I think one thing is for sure in championship level teams. I think it's a bit of luck, and I think with that Lukaku's chance, I think it was just City's time. It was their luck, and I think it was not Lukaku's luck. I think that is the story of his season, because as you can recall in the World Cup, I think he missed some big chances for Belgium also. So I just think it's just his bad luck this season. I
Yeah.
think based on Inter Milan's defense, I think it was a well-rounded performance from the team in total. Because I think when it comes down to like tactical battles, I think the 3-5-2 for Inter Milan is perfect to go against this new hybrid team that Pep has, because normally with John Stones inverting it, they'll normally outplay teams in the middle. But I think when it comes on to the 3-5-2 now, each one of the wing back can drop in the middle, be depending on which side City is playing from. And you could see that City was matching them stride for stride in that middle. And I think for the goal, it was the one time that they didn't cover that midfield, and Akanji drive with the ball and gave it to Silva, which in turn left Rodri right at there. So I think Inter did a very they execute their plan brilliantly. I think the only I think in every match there's going to be a mistake, and that's just the clinical nature of City right now. That one mistake end up led to a goal for them, and I think Inter can they gave a good account of themselves. I think probably not like people who watch football religiously, but like the casuals would say that it was massively in City's favor. But we know as football fans that in a final, especially against an Italian team that's well known for their defensive prowess, I think it was always going to be cagey, and it was always going to come to that one chance and who can convert it. And City was that team in the end.
Yeah, that one moment of brilliance, you could say, but definitely I was very impressed with the Italian tactical setup, as we predicted, it would have been their usual tried and tested, you know, back three with the two wing backs, Dumfries and DeMarco. DeMarco had a very brilliant game, I would say, he was constantly at work down that flank and, keeping the City defenders at bay. I thought he was the standout player for Inter Milan, And Dumfries played well enough until he was substituted. But all-round performance, it was a good showing from the Italians, and as but this year was just City's year, you know. You could just feel that it was City's game to win, and win they did. And, congratulations must go out to the Man City team, champions of Europe, EPL champions, FA Cup champions, and, credit must be given to Pep, a few what should I say? A couple shows ago, I already knighted him the GOAT without even winning this treble. This is his second treble. He won his first treble with Barcelona, and here he has repeated the feat in England. This only adds to his legacy as, to me, the greatest manager of all time. And each trophy just keeps adding to that historical, trophy cabinet, so to speak. The critics said he could not have done it without Messi. Here he did it with arguable City's best player in De Bruyne. He got injured very early in the game, and City still came away victorious. So, the strength is really in the team and not necessarily the individual. And we have seen where Pep have continuously build teams and rebuild teams, buy players, sell players, and that mentality, that winning run just keeps going and going and going. So definitely credit must be given to Pep and this Man City team and the showing they have performed, all season. Uh you really have to just stand up and really congratulate them. There's nothing you can really take away from this team. They have it all: defense, midfield, forwards, and they have been the top scorers in this season's Champions League, 32 goals, and I believe they are the meanest defense as well. Even though Inter had the most clean sheets, I believe City is the team which conceded the least number of goals. So, all the statistics really point to Man City deserving of this Champions League title. And this may very well be one of many to come. It may just be a dynasty now in Europe just taking root. So, we have to just wait and see if, Pep will be looking to defend this title come next season, and you would not put it past this Man City team. They are constantly hungry and working towards trophies. Anything less than a trophy, they really fall short in terms of their season's objective. So, you could say maybe the best is yet to come. But for right now, they have silenced the critics and they have sealed up a historic treble.
I mean, for City, I think it was coming to a point where if they didn't get this Champions League trophy, it would be considered not a good season for City. So I think the elusive trophy that eluded all these years, I think he deserves it, and it just so happens that Messi got his World Cup in the same year that Pep got his Champions
Oh,
League. So,
yes.
so I think the stars
Yeah.
just and
Yeah, the goats are reigning this season. This year is the year of the goats.
actually normally the things would be like too good to happen, but in this year everything just falls right into place, and I think
Yes, indeed. And in the process, Alvarez, that Man City striker, Argentinian, he is the only person in football history to have won the World Cup and the treble in the same calendar year. So he has won the World Cup, the FA Cup, the EPL, and the Champions League, 4 trophies under his belt. For
already.
this year alone, he is the only person in history to have accomplished that feat.
And I think after this Champions League win, I think even Man City, I don't think we'll see even Pep at Man City for too long anymore. I
Mm.
think this was really the trophy that was keeping him at Man City. And as you followed Pep career over the years, I think Man City he stayed the longest. And I think
Yeah, the other clubs in England, we should be praying for him to move on because to me, that's the only way clubs like Chelsea, Liverpool,
uh,
Arsenal, Manchester United will see any consistency in terms of winning trophies. Once Pep is there, then
it's over.
he is the man you have to go through, and not many have done that on any consistent basis. Liverpool broke the cycle a couple of years ago, came very close on another occurrence, City winning by 1 point, but there has been no consistency in terms of breaking that Pep mold. It has been Man City, Man City, Man City since the Pep era, and that's the only that's the only way, other teams could come into the fore is if Pep decides, say, hey, I've accomplished all I need to accomplish here. Time to move on to a new challenge. So who to tell? We may yet see him move on. I believe he declined to renew his last contract. So
in
it's
2020.
possible that the year 2025 may be the last time we see Pep in the EPL. But, you know, the future is unpredictable. Who to tell?
Actually, actually, and I
This
think
winning this Champions League may change his mind and a new contract is signed. And,
no,
that's not what the English teams want to see.
and I think Man City, I think they just did everything perfectly for Pep because I think even their backroom staff, majority of them are from his era in Barcelona. When he won with that super team, I think majority of Manchester backroom staff left from Barcelona to come to be Pep's backroom staff. So I think the stars aligned perfectly. And I think, as you said, I think Man City will hold supreme over the Premier League until Pep is gone. I think a manager at that caliber and Man City's financial power at the point, I think Pep will always get the players he wants. Not
Definitely.
not only because of their financial pull, but because of his managerial pull also.
Because of his managerial pull, the man is a genius. The man is a genius, Leon. We just have to admit that we are watching greatness in front of our very eyes and just recognize greatness for what it is. The man is a
Still,
genius. Many persons have had the luxury of money and have failed to done what Pep has done on any consistent basis, year after year, time and time again. Double trophies, trebles, etc. So greatness. This man is a great manager, and you talk to his players. He constantly keep them hungry. His tactics are constantly evolving, and I think that is one of the things which really sets him apart from other managers like a Jurgen Klopp. We saw where Liverpool this season became stale, became predictable. Pretty much forced into making changes, but Pep's tactics have constantly been evolving. It's as if you can't reading. Each season he comes with something different, some slight tweaks here or there. And we see teams this year even following his pattern. It was Pep who came with this inverted wingback. And we now see Liverpool taking it on in the form of Trent. But it's
and
a
yeah,
Pep blueprint that Liverpool is following.
I was listening to I think I see Henry I think he was doing a little podcast. I'm not sure, but I think he was talking to Pep face to face, and he said for him Pep is the greatest coach, and he one of his reasons is because Pep invent position that future that academies are going to train their players to play like, and that was one of his main reasons. And I think most people that do,
Unquestionable, unquestionable.
and I think most people that doesn't give Pep his credit and uses the excuse of his Barca team, I think a lot of them don't realize that most of that team from Barcelona, Pep actually brought most of them to the academy. I think when Pep inherited that Barca team, I think only Iniesta and Xavi. I think Xavi was already there, but he wasn't the main. I think he was on the bench, and I think Iniesta was just on his way in breaking through the first team. So players like and Messi, and I think Pep was the first one that placed Messi in the false nine position, and he was the player that took Busquets from the academy also. So
Yes, I
uh,
mean,
all of,
credit has to be given, Leon.
actually,
Credit has to be
actually,
given. And the voice of the critics have been silenced, pretty much.
okay.
There's nothing more to say. All the critics have been silenced, and anything else we get from Pep is really just bonus. And once he is active as a manager, trophies are coming because he's a serial winner. This man is a serial winner. So more trophies to come. Once he's in charge, once he's up and running, more trophies to come. So, but we move, Leon, we move, and pretty much this match draws the curtain on this season's, club football season, so to speak. All attention now turns towards transfers, preparation for next season, and international tournaments and preseason friendlies, which may be taking place during the summer. We see a number of teams will be touring the United States, and they have some preseason friendlies coming up in late July, early August. But in the interim, the Caribbean teams, CONCACAF, they play in the Gold Cup, which will be taking place in the United States, and Jamaica, Canada, USA, Mexico, they should be vying to lift that trophy during the course of this summer. But in terms of football rumors, Leon, we see a number of key signings taking place and rumors of players being closely linked to being signed. We see Liverpool signing McAllister. What can you tell us? What do you see Liverpool being like from the signing? Will McAllister help the team, or will they still be in a malaise come the start of next season?
I think it's a welcome addition for the Liverpool midfield, but I think they need more. I think McAllister is even a traditional club player. I think he's more on the technical side. I think he's a player that will probably give you a 7 out of 10 almost every week. I think he's a very steady player, but I don't think he's a Jurgen top type of player, but I think he can get there, and I think he's very technically secure. I think he can play a lot of positions. So I think it's a very decent signing for Liverpool, and I think it was like 35 million. I
Mm.
mean, that's a wonderful,
That's
wonderful
a
price
bargain
tag.
buy. You would say a bargain buy.
Yeah, I don't think you can go wrong
Yeah,
with a
that's
player of
definitely a bargain. A
with a
World Cup
player
winner. I mean, come on, you can't get World Cup winners for 35 million.
not at all. And I think it's any team buying a McAllister for 35 mil. I don't think you can go wrong there. I think they'll need more more midfield. I think they're looking at a Kone and I'm not sure. I thought I heard that the name Kone from I think it's Gladbach. I think he's a more robust type player. So I think that's more our own club type of player.
Mm.
I think for Manchester United, I'm hearing Mason Mount. I think a lot of Manchester United fans are throwing their arms up, wondering what is Ten Hag doing.
Well,
But I
these
think
these are only rumors, Leon. These are only rumors.
that
So, you can't really go by rumors these days. You
it,
have to go by who signs on the dotted line.
I think it's much more than a rumor, but we know that. I think they're in concrete talks. I think personal terms aren't an issue. I think the only issues Manchester United is having with that signing, I think Chelsea values him at like 70 million or close to 80 million, and I think Manchester United is not going to pay that amount because I think he has 1 year remaining on his contract. So I think it would be
Mm.
a foolish purchase if Manchester United paid that amount for him. So it's still early in the in it, but I
Yeah,
think it's much
definitely
more
early
than
in
that.
the transfer window, but we see a number of teams making their move from early. For example, Aston Villa, they have locked up Yuri Tillemans, coming from relegated team Leicester, Belgian international. What can we expect from a Yuri Tillemans and being now added to the Aston Villa 11? Will he be a good addition? Can he displace any of the current midfielders there at Aston Villa for a starting berth?
I think it's a good purchase. Also, I'm not really sure about that one because I think even for Yuri Telemans, I think a couple seasons ago he was his transfer rumor circle was around major European clubs. So
Yeah, yeah, top
to see
four Arsenal.
Arsenal, to see him end up at Aston Villa, I think it'd probably be a little bit disappointing for him. And
But
and
Leon, Aston Villa is playing in Europe this season. The
but
narrative surrounding Aston Villa is no joke. They are now in Europe. I mean, Emery has really lifted the profile of this team from last season or the season before.
But it's not just the caliber of team because even at Manchester United or Liverpool, I think his wage would be significantly different than
Mm,
that of Aston Villa. And I think also when you look at Aston Villa current midfield selection, I think they're probably similar players around that. I think you have a Kamara, I think you have a Douglas Luiz, I think
Magin,
a
Ramsey.
Magin. On that, and I think for Aston Villa per se, it's a great free signing because you know his
Yeah,
quality.
he could be a quality squad player. Add depth to that squad, especially now, you're in four competitions.
And it's a free agent signing,
Free agent signing. That's
so
right. No transfer fees involved.
it's just his wage. But I think probably on the player side it would be. I think you would probably expected a much bigger move, but based on the season that Leicester had, I don't think any of those big clubs would really. come for him unless he had an exceptional season. He wasn't really starting that much this season either.
Right,
So
right.
I think Aston Villa is a decent team. I think if he plays well for the next 3 years, he probably can get that
Well,
bumper
I
contract
guess it's fair to say then the verdict is still out on
still out.
Tillemans and him joining Aston Villa, you know?
Yeah, that's for me. I think it's still out. I'll wait till the season go along and see how well he fares at Aston Villa.
Yeah, that has to be the smart approach at this stage. You know, as you mentioned, he wasn't really a consistent starter for Leicester, and of course, Leicester got relegated. So, you know, what should I say? You know, you're getting a player from a relegated team that in itself speaks volumes to some degree. So, you know, this one, I feel this one is a wait and see, and see how he can be integrated into this Aston Villa team, which Emery has really had playing well throughout the season. So we'll see how this one turns out. But you know, teams are definitely making their move early and looking to get their transfer windows up and running. You know, we see Arsenal being closely linked with that Declan Rice. I'm hearing rumors of in excess of 100 million pounds. How do you view how do you view such a signing though, Leon, if it was to happen? Is Declan Rice really £100 million footballer? And if he is signed for such a fee, does Arsenal now become the runners to win the league?
For me, I think no player is worth 100 million. Only few players in the world is worth 100 million. Even that 100 million price tag doesn't come with the player's ability to, as only it also comes with their marketing value and how much money they can make the club of for commercially. So I
Mm,
think Declan Rice per se, I don't think he's worth that much. I'm very skeptic towards 100 million footballers because I think they rarely live up to that price tag. And I think it's just an extra burden on that player. But as we say, the player doesn't set the price tag, it's the market. So I think Arsenal will be getting a good player. He lifted the trophy, the Conference League with West Ham.
right,
So I
right.
think it's a valuable leader for that thing. I think he's a great player. I think he has a lot more to go up to. I think I saw Michael Antonio saying he's the best DM in the world, but I think it
Mm,
is it's his teammates, so I didn't expect him to say
right, right, right.
anything much. But I think he still can go up a level and him moving to a big team per se with a lot of pressure like Arsenal, I think we'll really see what he's made up of and his quality because I think Arsenal needs a midfielder like him because I
So
think Xhaka.
is he better than Partey though? Is he
I
better
don't
than Partey?
I don't think I think he'll be filling in the Xhaka role, not the party. I think party will be the
No,
sitting
but
midfielder.
just comparing those two
Oh,
players,
comparing,
Partey or Rice, who do you go with?
I mean, for me, I'll probably go with Rice at this moment. But if it was the party that just when he was leaving from Atletico Madrid,
Right, right,
I would say party was better at that point. But at this point, like today, I
right.
think I think Rice is probably a similar player. I think they're different in the sense of party fits mostly now while Rice is more transitioning to be a box to box midfielder.
Mm.
Where that
But you're choosing Rice over Partey currently.
currently, yeah,
But what about Caicedo versus Rice?
I would go with Caicedo be- because of the price tag. Because
No,
of
I'm
the
talking
yeah?
about footballing ability, Leon.
No, I'll
Footballing
go.
ability, Rice or Caicedo?
I think I'll go with Caicedo right now. I think
Caicedo. So you're
yeah.
saying Caicedo is a better footballer in
Uh,
his position than Rice then?
for me, I think it's more Caicedo is more easy on the eyes. My preference as a
Okay,
footballer,
okay.
I think he's more.
So what I'm getting from you then, Leon, I mean, this hype surrounding Rice, it's just that hype
Yeah,
because I'm sure you can get quality footballers like a Miles Caicedo, Casemiro,
for less money.
Kante for less money, as you say, and playing a similar role. You
It's
could
the English.
probably even throw McAllister in that mix as well.
It's the English tax, Rafa. You
Oh,
see
it's the
any
English tax.
you see any price at the English players worth, you can
Right?
add a extra 30, 40 million to that.
Got you. So
So
technically then, Arsenal may be buying fool's gold then, Leon. If in
uh
fact they purchase him for in excess of that £100 million.
I mean, I think they will be massively overpaying for Rice. Let's say
Massively
that
overpaying.
overpaying
Mm,
for Rice.
that's a good way to put it.
I think a 60 million, 70 million probably would be in the price range. But as we say for, I mean, Manchester United pay $85 million for Maguire,
Right?
and he was just about 50 million, a 50 million pound player. So I think any price you're hearing for an English player, minus 30 million, 40 million,
English
but
tax.
English tax, naturally.
So technically then a player like even a Madison who may be looking for a way out of Leicester,
Mm.
chances are you may overpay for a Madison as well.
Well, not at the moment, but if it was the Madison 2 years ago when Leicester
Mm,
was in his pump,
right, right.
he was quoting as a 100 million player also. I don't know if you if you
I
if
tell you,
you if you
these
remember
English
those.
players, you know.
Yeah, and I think even if they pay a lot of money for the English players, I think the English media itself don't give those players a chance. And I think, for
Mm,
example, the Jude Bellingham 100 million transfer thing to Real
right.
Madrid, I think you're overpaying for Jude
120
Bellingham.
I'm hearing
Yeah, I think you're
with
overpaying for Jude
add-ons.
Bellingham, but for Real Madrid, I think the key difference is Jude Bellingham doesn't go into this Madrid side and starts immediately. He'll
Oh,
be
really?
yeah,
No,
no,
man. Of course, man.
no, no, come
Magic
on
is
now.
out, man. Magic out, Bellingham in.
No, no, not Real Madrid. Trust me.
Come on, Leon.
You,
Magic has to be out. You
if
can't
you,
pay 120 million pounds and you're gonna start Jude Bellingham on the bench.
if you
Nah,
watch,
man.
if you
Magic,
watch,
Magic out, man. Bellingham in.
if you watch this Real Madrid side and how they do their transfers, Rafa, Camavinga
Mm.
went there bench. Tuchman is currently on the bench. So you have
Nah, man. Jude
no,
Bellingham is better than those two combined, man.
no, no.
Bellingham must start.
I'm not saying that he isn't better. I'm just saying they'll give him time
Nah,
to
man.
adapt first.
Immediate starter, Leon.
No,
Immediate starter.
he'll
No
start.
questions asked.
He'll start, but they'll phase him in and
No,
out of the
man, no
team.
phasing
Trust
in
me.
and out, man. No, week
Okay,
in, week out. No
trust
phasing
me.
in and out.
All right, we,
Phasing in, Leon.
we'll
You
see. But
can't pay 120 million and has this man on the bench, man. No, man.
I,
Week in,
I,
week out starter. Once he's fit, must
yeah,
start.
I watch this. I watch Spanish league every week, and I'm telling you, Real Madrid, he's not going to go in there and start week in, week out. He probably start the first 3 matches, then he'll on the bench, and they'll
Well,
constantly
I guess
rotate
this
him
one
with.
we'll have to wait and see then, Leon. We'll definitely have to wait and see.
We'll see for sure. I don't think.
Yes.
I think the quality that Real Madrid has, I think They'll allow him to adapt and just play football with no pressure whatsoever. And in like a season or two, you'll see Jude Bellingham a major cog in this Real Madrid new year for sure.
Well, there you have it, viewers and subscribers. Leon saying, Jude Bellingham will be phased in at at Real Madrid. I have to see that one to believe that one. But viewers and subscribers, just like to thank you again for tuning to us here on Beating the Press podcast. Please continue to share the podcast, continue to make your comments, and of course, if you haven't subscribed, please hit that subscription bell there. Leon, just like to thank Leon for coming on board again and sharing his thoughts and his comments. Going forward, we may very well start our look on a build up to the Gold Cup. Jamaica has a very strong squad, I would say, entering into this competition. So going forward, we're going to be zooming in on the Gold Cup and see if Jamaica, under their new coach, the Icelandic, see if they can make a splash in the Gold Cup this year. But there you have it. Until next time, this is Rafa signing off.